Hi guys, so it's Nicole Ham here. I am not able to be there this week, unfortunately, so Dr. Brown asked if I would show you around my website that I created for my culminating project. So this is the Gifted Student Strategies for Helping Gifted Students Thrive in a Social Studies Classroom. This is the home page, so it's meant to grab your attention and tell you basically what the site is for, which is to provide a wealth of strategies, resources, and ideas. It links you to some of the more important pages of the site, so strategies, the needs of gifted students, and the purpose of the site, as well as explains why social studies, which is mostly just because that's the content area that I am most familiar with, although it says that any of these strategies may be adapted to any content. So about the gifted student, it tells you to start with the National Association for Gifted Children's website with their programming standards, so that's the link there. It also explains the point of this is because gifted students need more engagement and more attention to detail than just lectures and worksheets. And so this is meant to be not the end all be all, but it's meant to be a building block when the teacher goes to plan for lessons and curriculum for gifted students. It also explains who created the site, that it was created for a course for the University of Georgia. It also explains where the information came from, which is from mostly our textbook, but there are a lot of various articles throughout. So if we go to the unique needs of gifted students, here is where a lot of the explanation of why these strategies are necessary is explained. So it says that giftedness is not just a label. So there's a continuum of students, and a student who's not labeled as gifted could still make use of these strategies. It also explains that giftedness is a construct, so there's no single conception of giftedness, nor is there a definitive list. And so therefore you have all these definitions. And I tried to provide a link with each one to explain a little more. So you have the National Association for Gifted Children's definition, as well as the federal definition, and various state definitions, which I think we looked at this in class. But if you click here, it takes you to the link where it has all of the state definitions, including Georgia, right there. It also has Mary Fraser's definition with her F tabs, which is a great way of trying to figure out how giftedness is expressed. And if you click there, it takes you to the explanations and how it may look. There's also videos here that list a lot of the characteristics, and I'll leave you guys to watch those kind of on your own, but there they are. There's also Reese, Sullivan, and Renzulli, which I think is from our textbook, their overview, as well as their explanations of Dabrowski's overexcitabilities. There's also an explanation on creativity and explaining how creativity, the big C, is not the only way of creativity. There's also a little c, that involves risk-taking, independence, and emotional sensitivity, abstract thinking, and big picture thinking. So it explains a lot of that, as well as links you to the Torrance Center. The last link is pretty cool. It's a website that I helped create for another class on the characteristics of special populations of gifted students. And if it's a wiki space, and so if you go, you will see all these populations over here. So underachieving students, African American students, females, highly gifted. When you go to each one, it has a wealth of resources. There's an annotated bibliography, there's barriers for here. And so this is, for instance, this would be the struggles that African American students face when they go and when it comes to identification. So lots of information on that site. And finally, the resources are at the bottom. So now we move on to the strategies, and on this page you'll find just kind of an overview of each strategy. There they are. And we'll go to choice boards. Sorry, it's a little sluggish today. So pretty much all the strategy pages look like this. So it has a brief introduction over here. It tells you in the barest terms what the strategy is. Over here it explains the what, the why, the who, and when. So what says, just in the simplest terms, what is the strategy? And also I try and involve some textbooks so that people can try and look it up if they need more explanation. The why explains what it helps build. So choice boards develop individualism, risk-taking, exploring various skills and interests. And then I tried to, with each one, explain how it helps gifted students in particular with attention to the needs that were listed earlier. So this one helps with high interest areas, learn to take risks, which can be huge for students, gifted students especially. Each page also has some sort of video, and I tried to make sure that the video shows a different way of using the strategy than I do in my sample lesson, so that you can get as many examples as possible. And then finally down here you have the sample lesson. This one's a bit long, but it's very detailed because I had to use it for a class before. So this is a choice board. It's a learning menu for Africa's environmental issues, and of course you can go and explore that on when you have time. But if you click on the resources, all the resources you need and worksheets are over here. So you can see for this one, there's a main course that involves a bit of worksheets, but then the side dishes are really where the choice board shines. So here you have, they can create a song, a newspaper article from Mysteries, and a simulation sort of activity. And all of that is explained in the lesson plan area, and then all of the side dishes and dessert sheets and anything you could possibly need is over here. There's also, on some of the strategies, I'll go to geocaching as an example. There's a lot of content with this, which teachers may not be familiar with. And if they need help, I tried to link when possible to some sort of content page where they can begin to research more on the content. So this is the New Georgia Encyclopedia, which is a great resource for Georgia studies. And so it just tells about Chickamauga Battle and helps you understand a little bit more about the actual lesson. And resource at the bottom. So that's pretty much my website. Feel free to look around and explore. If you have any questions, Dr. Brown can transfer those to me. I'd be happy to answer them. And thanks for watching. Bye.